Good morning. I'm in my garden this morning. It's Friday the 27th of March and this is our daily Bible study. Yesterday we were learning about how it's not good to give up meeting together. We're finding ways of meeting on Zoom to read the Bible and pray, skills I certainly didn't have before last week. And we read about the confidence that we can have in approaching God's throne because Jesus has paid the price for our sins once and for all. In Hebrews chapter 10, verses 26 to 39, which is our reading this morning, we read about confidence in God and perseverance in faith. The writer says, "So do not throw away your confidence, it will be richly rewarded." And in Exodus chapter 6, verses 2 to 13 is our reading this morning. Verse 7 says, "I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God." God is faithful to his promises to us today, as he was to the people of Israel then. I'm going to try and show you some of my plants. Okay, this is going to be tricky. This is a Weigela, and if we have a look at this Weigela, it's looking pretty twiggy at the moment, as you can see. It's been very twiggy all winter, and while it's been winter, it's been putting down its roots, and it's been restricting its growth above the ground, so that all its energy is going into its roots. Okay, and a bit further along, there are some raspberries. Let me see if we can show you the raspberries. Here we go. The raspberries also have been very twiggy during the winter, and now they're beginning to put on this lovely bright green leaves as spring comes. And then let's go into the greenhouse. Hope we can do this. As you can tell, I'm not very good at this. Here we go. This is my greenhouse, and you can see on the shelf here I've got fuchsias, and these fuchsias have been looking like twigs all winter as well, and now they're putting on loads of leaf. And there's more over here. That one looks like it's even got some flowers on it. So these plants have been conserving their energy and putting down roots underground, but not leaves above the surface. And now it's spring, they're beginning to grow again, and the time will come for leaves and flowers and fruit, all in good time. And I think for us during tough times, we need to dig down, dig deep, put our roots down, and not to worry too much about leaves and flowers and fruit above the surface, but to persevere in our faith. And I think that's what the writer to the Hebrews is saying. He's speaking to some early Christians who are going through real difficulties in their lives. Let me read to you what he says. "Remember those earlier days after you had received the light, when you endured great conflict full of suffering. Sometimes you were publicly exposed to insult and persecution. At other times you stood side by side with those who were so treated. Just like them, Jesus knows what we are going through. There's more. You suffered along with those in prison and joyfully accepted the confiscation of your property, because you knew that you yourselves had better and lasting possessions. So it's a good time to dig in deep, put our roots deep into Jesus and into God. In Matthew we read the parable of the sower, and we know that those who didn't put their roots down deep, the plants withered and died, and that's not what we want. So we need to persevere in faith. Hebrews goes on, you need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what was promised. So let's dig down deep and persevere, because God is faithful to his promises. And the time for leaves and fruit will come. And verse 39, let us not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. So let's dig in, persevere in faith, and trust in God, who is faithful. I'll see you tomorrow. Just want to add onto the study that we've just done a testimony of God's faithfulness. I've just had a text from Harriet Barker, who has been suffering with COVID-19, the coronavirus, and she says, it's definitely important to meet even virtually during this time. I know my faith and the prayers of others meant I haven't been scared during this illness, but instead have felt calm, positive and loved. That's wonderful. Thanks, Harriet.